Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to Diana Emerson today. We're listening to The Most Insane Twist.
It was after midnight. It was my aunt, Margaret Ann. And she told me, she said, I want you to know. She said, somebody broke in the house, Carol, and they shot your daddy.
The victim, 51-year-old Roy McCallum, a Korean War veteran, was shot and killed while sleeping in his own bed.
I started crying and screaming. And so trying to get everything together.
We got over to Roy Joe's house, and the police was there and had the yellow tape up and everything. And they won't let us in.
The person who held the key to the mystery was 43-year-old Carolyn Sue Kristen Wilson, Roy's wife. She claimed that a barefoot intruder was responsible for the horrifying crime.
He supposedly tortured her. He lit a candle, one of her candles, with her matches and dripped hot wax on her.
They get into some sort of scuffle.
And Carol says the guy told her that he would kill everybody in the house. She didn't stay in the room. He took her gun. Instead of going left down the hallway to exit the house, he went to the right where my daddy was, sound asleep, and he shot my daddy in the head.
However, it would take an astonishing 28 years to finally uncover the identity of the perpetrator. Who could have taken the life of Roy McCallum within the confines of his own home? Was this a home invasion? Or did the chilling incident hold a deeper, more intricate truth? Today, we're looking into the twisted case of Roy McCallum, who was murdered in 1985. Roy Joe McCallum's life began on September 3, 1934, in Baytown, Harris County in Texas, as part of the McCallum family, headed by Harvey Camry McCallum and Roxy Joe McCallum.
Roy Joe was very personable, and he liked everybody, and everybody liked him.
Although details about his early years remain limited, the narrative of McCallum's life took a significant turn with his marriage in the late 1950s. The marriage was to his first wife, whose name remains undisclosed in the records. During his time in the uniformed services, he served in Korea and then was honored as a war veteran after completing his service. His dedication to his service did not hinder the growth of his family. On November 1st, 1957, the couple celebrated the arrival of their first child, a daughter named Bridget. Building on this joyous foundation, just 3 years later, on February the 11th, 1960, they welcomed a baby boy named Alton into their family. The love that continued to grow within their household was evident as they expanded their family even further, with the birth of their third child, a daughter named Pamela.
My father was a man's man. And he took care of his family. He worked hard. And if there's a party or a gathering with the family, he was usually going to be in the center of it.
However, McCallum's married life took a tragic turn when their first child, Bridget, was diagnosed with Friedreich's ataxia, a devastating neurological disease resulting from a gene defect inherited from both parents. The diagnosis of this progressive disorder undoubtedly dealt a heavy blow to the family's hopes and aspirations.
It was hard on the whole family. There wasn't much medically that you could do for that. There was really no treatment for it.
The situation grew even more dire when, on January 7th, 1981, the McCallum family was shattered by the passing of Bridget, who was only 23 years old at the time.
When Bridget died, it was very hard on our family. We had never had to deal with anything like that.
I can remember when I got the phone call and I called my daddy and told him that Bridget was gone. And he kept telling me that everything's going to be all right.
This heartfelt loss plunged her parents into a state of grief and despair.
My dad kept everything inside. You know, he didn't talk about things like that.
The weight of their grief and the challenges they faced in dealing with their daughter's illness and eventual passing took an immeasurable toll on their mental and emotional well-being. As a result, the once happy couple found themselves caught in a relentless cycle of anguish, eventually leading to the painful decision to part ways. A few years later, in 1983, a new chapter began in McCallum's life when he crossed paths with Carolyn Kristen Wilson.
She dressed real nice. She was pretty.
Roger had the personality that he never met a stranger. He didn't really have any trouble meeting people, and he still had his looks. So he didn't have any trouble getting the women either.
This meeting took place during his tenure as a foreman at Brown and Root, a prominent construction company located in Houston, Texas. At the time, Carolyn was in her early 40s and had retired from her role as a civilian employee with the Houston Police Department. She transitioned into a position working at Montgomery Elementary School's cafeteria.
The first time I met Carol, she just sat there and didn't participate in the conversation, so I thought she was just real shy.
And we went over there, but she just never did say anything very much.
Carol, where'd you get the blouse? It's beautiful. I love it. Do you remember where you got it?
I really had to force myself to make conversation with her.
United by their shared connection and mutual understanding, McCallum and Carolyn found themselves drawn to each other's company.
I was really surprised when my husband came home one day and said, Carol and Roger are getting married.
I was thinking, we have two wonderful families.
We do. So I started asking questions about where they was going to get married. He said they're going to get married in Roger's house. And we're going. I think that Roger, because he did have a long time marriage the first time, that he wanted that again. And she offered that to him.
I wanted to like Carol because she was going to be my sister-in-law, you know, but I couldn't get close to her. She just wasn't that kind of person. I'd have kept my mouth shut. You don't step between a man and his future wife.
In a burst of joy, the couple swiftly exchanged vows in the same year they met. Their journey began with the promise of a harmonious life in their North Shore home, marking the start of a new chapter as partners.
I was hoping that it would work out. He did act like he was happy. The rest of the people that was there was happy, but she still was distant.
After marrying Roy, Carol would have had the ability to sort of lift the family up to be a pillar, but instead, it seems like she sort of took everyone down a notch.
The well-pictured life was shattered on September 22nd, 1985, when a tragic event unfolded within the walls of the McCallum household. On that fateful day, McCallum, alongside his wife Carolyn and their son Alton, who was with his girlfriend, were engaged in what appeared to be a routine moment in their North Shore residence. However, destiny had something different in store that would forever alter the course of their lives. A few weeks prior to the incident, McCallum had had a heart attack and underwent surgery. On the day of September 22nd, 1985, he was sedated and was resting in his bed as part of the process of recovering from his surgery. But amidst it, in a house full of people, he was shot to death with a .38 caliber gun.
Hello?
It was after midnight. It was my aunt, Margaret Ann,
Wait, slow down.
and she told me, she said, I want you to know. She said, somebody broke in the house, and Carol, and they shot your daddy.
When the police arrived at the scene, their first task was to assess whether this could be a case of a home invasion.
We got over to Roy Jones' house, and the police was there and had the yellow tape up and everything.
And they won't let us in.
Nevertheless, no apparent signs of a forced entry into the house were evident. Although it seemed impossible for an outsider to commit the crime, Carolyn made a statement that would shock the investigators.
Carol said that she was on her way to work one day, and she was a couple of blocks from the house at a stop sign, and a man just jumped in her car and made her drive down to a park somewhere near their house. And
She claimed she didn't tell anybody because she didn't want to upset my father.
Continuing her account, Carolyn revealed a direct connection between her past trauma and the day of the crime. She explained that the same man from her previous assault had returned. On the day of the incident, he entered their home through an unlocked back door. Holding her at knife point, he assaulted her once more, while her husband, her son, and his girlfriend were upstairs asleep.
She said she kept a gun underneath her pillow, and she pulls out the gun to, presumably stop the. He grabs the gun. He's holding a knife to her throat while he's sexually assaulting her.
He supposedly tortured her. He lit a candle, one of her candles, with her matches and dripped hot wax on her.
They get into some sort of scuffle.
And Carol says the guy told her that he would kill everybody in the house. She didn't stay in the room. He took her gun. Instead of going left down the hallway to exit the house, he went to the right to where my daddy was, sound asleep, and he shot my daddy in the head. And she said that when she heard the gunshot, she jumped up and ran in the hallway, and they bumped into each other. He dropped the gun, and then she fires 3 shots after him.
Nevertheless, when the police questioned Carolyn's friends and family members, they reported that Carolyn emerged from the house and calmly recounted the events that had transpired. Margaret McCallum, a family member of the victim, shared her perspective, saying, "She just sat in a chair and just started talking about it as calmly as I am to you. She went home and took a shower. That set off alarms with me."
All I remember is Carol in the oversized chair with me, puts her arm around me, and is consoling me because I'm hysterical. And I was just shocked, but she didn't have a tear in her eye.
I just could not believe that a man raped her in the park. Well, how could he have even traced her to her house? How did he know where she lived to go back the second time?
This notable difference between Carolyn's seemingly collected demeanor and the gravity of the situation raised suspicions and sparked concerns among those who knew her, adding a layer of complexity to the ongoing investigation. The details of the crime scene investigation and the limited evidence obtained were shrouded in confidentiality. Most of the information was not publicly disclosed, including whether or not the bullet shells from the gun fired by Carolyn were discovered at the scene. Another significant point of concern emerged as Carolyn's son, Alton, came into focus. He was present in the house during the time when Carolyn reported being assaulted by the barefoot man, and when McCallum lost his life. However, Alton's assertion was that he'd heard nothing unusual transpiring during these critical moments.
His room was directly across my daddy, very small house. And he claimed that the first shot he heard, he didn't pay much attention to it because he thought it was the air conditioner vent falling and hitting the wooden floor.
This discrepancy raised yet another red flag for investigators. And that was the only statement that police got out of him, as 3 years later, on November 4th, 1988, Alton McCallum also passed away at the age of 28. The police also noticed a significant detail on the day of the murder. Carolyn's nightgown had traces of McCallum's blood on it.
They find blood on it, but not her blood or an assailant's blood. It's blood spatter, and it's Roy McCaleb's blood.
Despite this observation, the police seemed unsure about the direction to take in the investigation. As time passed, the days without any clear leads stretched into months, and then stretched further into years. Pamela, McCallum's youngest daughter, took it upon herself to regularly contact the district attorney assigned to the case, seeking updates at least once a year. However, despite these efforts, the case gradually grew cold, with no substantial breakthroughs in sight. In 2008, investigators revisited the case with a renewed perspective, driven by a determination to uncover evidence linking Carolyn to the murder. For years, law enforcement had harbored suspicions that Carolyn Kristen Wilson might be connected to her husband's shooting within their home. However, the necessary evidence for prosecution had remained elusive. This time, with a fresh commitment from the investigators, a methodical effort was launched to gather the pieces of the puzzle. It was revealed that Carolyn had tried to take out not one, but 2 life insurance policies on McCallum, amounting to a substantial sum of $198,000.
She had taken out a pretty substantial amount of life insurance on Roy without his knowledge.
Well, I was told it was for $240,000.
This revelation raised eyebrows, as it pointed to a potential motive for his murder. Given that Carolyn stood to inherit the significant amount upon McCallum's death, the financial gain could have served as a compelling incentive for her involvement in his killing. Despite the extensive legal proceedings spanning over 2 years, the insurance company eventually disbursed $48,000 from the policy. This amount was divided among the beneficiaries, with Carolyn receiving $19,000 and McCallum's children being granted $21,000. The rest of the funds were directed towards covering expenses for the cemetery and funeral home services. It became evident that Carolyn did ultimately receive a sum of money in the aftermath of her husband's tragic passing. Another intriguing aspect of Carolyn's history emerged as investigators delved deeper. It was discovered that Carolyn had been married a total of 6 times. What made this particularly unusual was that one of her marriages actually occurred simultaneously with her marriage to McCallum, creating a perplexing overlap. This revelation led to Carolyn being charged with bigamy due to the overlapping marriages. She then married for the 7th time after McCallum's death, and again got divorced in 1990. The suspicion that Carolyn's motive for murder might be linked to the life insurance money was intensified by the words of one of her former husbands, Melvin Laxon, who described her as money hungry. Recalling their past, Laxon, who'd married Carolyn in 1976, shared his perspective. The first night I talked to her in that bar, she was so sweet and innocent and lovable. But after me and her got together, she was a living hell. Armed with the gathered evidence, Carolyn was at last formally charged with murder in 2008. However, a judge dismissed the indictment, causing a setback in the legal process. The journey towards justice continued, and in 2012, an appeals court reinstated the murder charge. Subsequently, a court date was scheduled, marking a significant step towards a resolution. Before the case could go to trial, a plea deal was reached. In 2013, Carolyn entered a guilty plea for the murder of McCallum under a unique arrangement. In exchange for her plea, she was sentenced to just 6 months in prison, followed by a period of deferred adjudication spanning 10 years. This phase involved close monitoring during her sentence. If she managed to complete these 10 years without any violations, the conviction would not appear on her record. Despite entering a guilty plea, Carolyn continued to assert her innocence while behind bars. As conveyed by her attorney, James Stafford, her decision to confess was driven by a desire to move beyond the case. Supposedly grappling with a range of health problems, including dementia, she was reaching a point of exhaustion. Carolyn expressed her sentiments from the Harris County Jail, stating, "I don't understand the system. I'll never have faith in it again. I would never hurt Roy. I would never hurt my children like this." The victim's family was left deeply aggrieved by the comparatively short sentence, perceiving it as overly lenient. Despite their frustration, the plea deal was forged based on Carolyn's confession, her declining health, and the scarcity of additional evidence. Nonetheless, prosecutor Bill Exley shed light on the matter, revealing that Carolyn's Alzheimer's disease and dementia diagnosis had surfaced only recently. He emphasized that her competency had never been a matter of doubt, given the agreement of her own defense lawyer and the judge in this assessment. Conversely, defense attorney Stafford James stated, "Considering her age and mental condition, I believe all parties recognize that this was likely the appropriate and fair decision to reach." Carolyn's sentence didn't commence until December 26, 2013, affording her the opportunity to celebrate Christmas before beginning her term. This raised issues as well, particularly for McCallum's daughter Pamela, who voiced her objection by asking, "How many holidays has she taken from us?" On December 26, 2013, Carolyn Sue Kristen Wilson, age 71, commenced her 6-month prison term in Houston, Texas, followed by 10 years of probation. While she successfully completed her sentence, her present location remains undisclosed and unknown. So, what are your thoughts on this case? Do you believe Carolyn was responsible for the crime? If she was indeed involved, do you consider the outcome of the legal proceedings to be a fair form of justice? Bollywood glitz and glamour. Sri Yama Yangar Ayappan, also known professionally and publicly as Sri Devi, had been in Dubai, UAE to attend her nephew's wedding. The 54-year-old diva was accompanied by her husband, Boney Kapoor, and youngest daughter, Khushi Kapoor. While Boney and Khushi left Dubai the day after the wedding, Sri Devi decided to extend her stay and convert this eventful journey into a relaxing vacation. In a shocking turn of events, when everyone thought Sri Devi was enjoying her getaway, her lifeless body was found submerged underwater in the bathtub of her hotel room on February 24, 2018.
Bollywood actor Sridevi's unexpected death in Dubai shook millions of fans across the globe.
So, what happened with Sridevi in the bathroom that night? Was it simply an accident? Or was there a mystery behind this tragic incident? Dubai is a city situated within the United Arab Emirates. The city is most renowned for its towering skyscrapers, such as the iconic Burj Khalifa, which symbolizes remarkable human achievement. But that's not all Dubai has to offer. The city is lined with picture-perfect beaches where the sun lovingly caresses the sand and provides some of the most heavenly views one could ever imagine. When it comes to safety, Dubai actually ranks quite high on the list, with a low crime rate index of 16.27 and the highest safety index of 83.73 out of 100. While this may make Dubai a great option for a city to settle in, it doesn't mean that the city's free from all danger. Which brings us to the mysterious case of Sridevi. In the quaint village of Minampadi near Sivakasi in present-day Tamil Nadu, India, Sri Amma Yangar Ayappan came into the world on August 13, 1963. Her parents Ayappan and Rajaswari Yangar played pivotal roles in shaping her upbringing. Shri's father was a lawyer who hailed from Sivakasi, Tamil Nadu, and Shri's mother, who was originally from Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh, took care of the household. Shri, as she was lovingly called, embraced Telugu as her mother tongue, seamlessly weaving it with her fluent command of Tamil. Growing up, she shared her childhood with her younger sister, Srilatha Yangar. As much as they fought each other as children, the two sisters were inseparable. Satish and Suryakala were Shri's half-siblings who stemmed from her father's and mother's previous marriages, respectively. Shri's journey in the world of cinema unfolded when she took her first steps as a child artist in the 1967 Tamil film Kandan Karunai at the tender age of 4. Her talent continued to bloom, and she got herself the lead role in a mythological Tamil film in 1969, where she showcased her remarkable acting skills even as a young performer. As she entered the captivating realm of acting, ascending to greater heights, she decided to spice things up a bit and adopted a stage name that transcended mere letters. She called herself Sridevi. The specific age or stage of her career when she chose this name remains unclear. However, what is clear is that she embraced the name upon entering the film industry. Sridevi's transition into on-screen adulthood occurred in 1976 when she was only 13. As challenging as it was for teenage Sridevi to play an adult in the Tamil films, her grace and charm earned her a special spot in the film industry. This marked the beginning of Sridevi's evolution into a prominent leading lady of South Indian cinema. Across her diverse career in the following years, Shri made her mark as an actress proficient in Tuvalu, Tamil, Hindi, Malayalam, and Kannada language films. Her mesmerizing dance became a cultural phenomenon, with many praising Sridevi's bejeweled outfits and headgear for stealing the show. Following this success, she continued to achieve milestones in Bollywood, performing her best and showcasing her acting skills. Filmfare magazine celebrated Sridevi's success and stardom by declaring her the best female star in Bollywood on their cover. Sridevi's status as one of the leading actresses in Bollywood was solidifying day by day. Sridevi's journey to superstardom reached new heights with her portrayal of a quirky crime journalist in the science fiction film Mr. India, opposite another renowned Bollywood figure, Anil Kapoor, in 1987. Many agreed that Sridevi was a complete show stealer in her films. Sridevi's mobile facial expressions and uninhibited presence in front of the camera garnered recognition, establishing her as a powerhouse in the industry. Sridevi's infectious laughter and her ability to look distinctly tearful when the scene demanded added a touch of perfection to all her performances. In fact, she had the uncanny ability to overshadow her co-stars, making them seem more like sidekicks in the film. From that point onward, she showcased her versatility in each film, expanding her repertoire with diverse roles. Amidst Sridevi's flourishing career, when her father passed away due to a heart attack while she was in the middle of shooting for another film, her journey in Bollywood continued with a string of successful movies, cementing her position as a formidable force in the industry. Inevitably, Sridevi came to be known as the first female superstar of Indian cinema. From 1985 to 1993, Sridevi held the coveted title of being the highest paid actress in India. In the midst of the production of Jurassic Park between 1992 and 1993, the renowned Hollywood director and producer Steven Spielberg extended an offer to Sridevi for a small role in the film. Despite the honor and fame associated with the opportunity, Sridevi, upon careful consideration of the role's significance, declined the offer. Behind the glamorous life of a heroine with enchanting magical eyes and stunning beauty was an inherently reserved woman who was often mistaken as being arrogant. But the reality was that Sridevi was genuinely shy. Commencing her acting journey at the tender age of 4, she missed out on the typical experience of formal education and interactions with peers her age. This early exposure to the industry shaped her aversion to crowds and noise, and she resorted to maintaining a calm and introverted demeanor off the camera. Consequently, throughout the period spanning from 1972 to 1994, when Sridevi was actively involved in film shooting, she always had the company of her mother, Rajeswari, or her sister Srilatha on the sets. However, Sridevi never complained about this. She was always grateful for what she had. In 1996, Boney Kapoor, who was a prominent film producer from the illustrious Bollywood lineage, the Kapoor family, tied the knot with Sridevi, and the newly married couple embarked on a whole new journey. However, this union between Boney and Sridevi raised many eyebrows and was considered quite a scandal since Boney had divorced his first wife, Mona Shori Kapoor, earlier in 1996. People wondered whether Sridevi and Boney had been having an affair since the gap between Boney's 2 marriages was notably less. With time, things came to rest, and the couple soon welcomed Janvi, their first daughter, into the world in 1997. Unfortunately, around the same period of time, Sridevi's mother faced complications stemming from a surgery she'd undergone in 1995 to treat a brain tumor. During the initial surgery, the neurosurgeon had made an error where he'd operated on the wrong side of her mother's brain, causing the destruction of vital tissues associated with vision and recent memory. Sridevi's mother couldn't recover from the damage and eventually passed away later in 1997. Following her mother's demise, Sridevi took a hiatus from the film industry and later welcomed another daughter, Kushi, in the year 2000. After a 15-year absence from the silver screen, Sridevi made a cinematic comeback that would soon go down in Bollywood history. This triumphant return wasn't just a personal victory. It etched Sridevi's name as the only actress in Bollywood to stage a successful comeback as a leading lady after marriage and a prolonged break from the film industry. Encouraged by the success, Sridevi ventured into her 300th film, a psychological thriller, in 2017. The journey of her comeback, however, took an unexpected turn when she signed up for a 2019 period romantic drama, only to have fate intervene before she could step into that role. On February 20th, 2018, Sridevi, accompanied by Boney and their youngest daughter Kushi, flew to Al Jazeera Al Hamra in Ras Al Khaimah, United Arab Emirates, to join the joyous celebration of her nephew Mohit Marwa's wedding. Sridevi's elder daughter Janvi unfortunately couldn't join due to her professional commitments. As the festivities unfolded, Kushi and Boney departed on February 22nd, 2018, with Boney heading to a meeting in Lucknow, back in India. Sridevi and Janvi loved to shop together, but since Janvi couldn't join her mother this time, she instead sent her a carefully prepared shopping list as her 21st birthday was around. Sridevi had the list stored in her cell phone and had planned to go on a shopping spree on February 21st, 2018. Unfortunately, she had to cancel those plans as she realized that she'd left her cell phone behind in Ras Al Khaimah. So with that, she then decided to linger a bit longer and make the most out of her time by extending her stay in Dubai, UAE, and make the most of her getaway. Not letting this bother her, Sridevi embraced the unexpected leisure time, spending the day relaxing in her hotel room. On the 22nd, she continued the laid-back approach, enjoying the company of a friend and engaging in fun conversations. A couple of days went by, and Sridevi phoned Boney, telling him how much she missed him. Boney recounted the conversation, saying, "When she told me, Papa," that's how she addressed him, "I'm missing you. I also told her that I was missing her a lot." Little did Sridevi know that Boney had already planned a surprise visit. Boney set the plan into motion on the morning of February 24th, 2018. He booked a 3:30 p.m. flight on that same day to Dubai. While he was seated in the lounge area of the international airport in Bombay, he received a call from Sridevi. Wanting to maintain the element of surprise, he made up a story about being engaged in a meeting for the next few hours and told her that his phone might be switched off. He assured her not to worry and promised to call her back as soon as he was free. The grand scheme was to catch her off guard with a surprise visit to her room at the Jumeirah Emirates Tower Hotel in Dubai, where Sridevi had been staying for the last few days. As planned, Boney arrived at the Jumeirah Emirates Towers Hotel at around 6:20 in the evening on Saturday, February 24th, 2018. While he was busy with the check-in formalities and securing a duplicate key to Sridevi's room, he couldn't contain his excitement about surprising her. In the midst of this anticipation, he requested the bellboy to delay delivering his bag to the room. Eager to catch Sridevi completely off guard, he knocked on the door of room number 2201, where Sridevi was lodged. As Sridevi opened the door and found Boney standing on the other side, she jumped up in joy. After an emotional reunion, the couple indulged in a lively chat for nearly half an hour, after which Boney excused himself to freshen up. Boney was overjoyed to see Sridevi and was in the mood for a romantic dinner. He asked Sridevi to postpone the planned shopping spree to the next day so they could instead enjoy a nice meal over drinks. Sridevi agreed and was all in for the plan. Although Boney was convinced that his plan worked, he somehow had a hunch that Sridevi knew about his surprise plans, but decided to play along. While Boney waited in the living room watching TV, Sridevi went to the bathroom to take a bath and get dressed. After 15 or 20 minutes, at approximately 7 p.m., Boney realized that they were running late and called out to her. But there was no response. He walked up to the bathroom and called out to her again. Growing concerned, Boney knocked on the bathroom door, repeatedly calling out Sridevi's name and escalating into a state of panic. Unable to get any response, Boney opened the door since it had not been bolted from the inside. The tragic incident unfolded as he discovered Sridevi fully immersed in water from head to toe inside the bathtub. Boney was in deep shock. He couldn't believe what was in front of his eyes. He pulled himself together and called the hotel staff, and then the Dubai Police Department. At first glance, the circumstances remained unclear to the detectives, as there wasn't a single drop of water outside the tub, indicating no movement of her legs or arms or any sign of a struggle. Sridevi was officially declared dead later that evening on February 24th, 2018. The narrative took an unexpected turn with the release of the forensic report by Dubai officials. In a shocking revelation, it was disclosed that the beloved actress Sridevi met her demise through accidental drowning in the confines of her hotel bathtub. The complexities of the investigation deepened as the toxicology report later unveiled traces of alcohol in Sridevi's bloodstream and the presence of water in her lungs. This painted a rather dark picture of the circumstances surrounding Sridevi's untimely departure. The final chapter of this sorrowful saga unfolded on the 20th of February 2018 at the Ville Parle Seva Samaj crematorium in Mumbai. The rituals of farewell were led by Sridevi's grieving husband, Boney Kapoor, who performed the last rites. Sridevi's departure was marked with state honors, a reverent gun salute, and the searing flame of her pyre, ignited by the one who knew her best, her husband. On March 3, 2018, Boney Kapoor and his two daughters, Janvi and Kushi, traveled to Tamil Nadu along with Sridevi's ashes. The final immersion took place in the sea off the coast of Rameswaram. Weeks later, on a quiet Sunday evening, the heart of Chennai resonated with a prayer meeting on March 11, 2018, organized by Sridevi's grieving family. The event, which was out of bounds for the media, became a sacred space where actors from Bollywood played homage to the late actress, their collective grief echoing through the silent corridors of remembrance. So, a Bollywood diva accidentally ended up drowning in her hotel bathtub, and everyone was in the clear? Was that all? Absolutely not. Sridevi might have been in the later years of her life, but she was fit as a fiddle. The world was just not convinced that she died due to accidental drowning. Some were even suspicious about the credibility of the released document, which stated Sridevi's death as accidental drowning, since it misspelled the term drowning. What was the truth behind Sridevi's death? Why was it being hidden? Sridevi's fans, along with other Bollywood enthusiasts, believed there was more to the story and someone's dirty deeds had been swept under the rug. That was when some very thought-provoking theories started coming up. The most controversial theory came to light when filmmaker Sunil Singh came forward with his fresh claims. Sunil claimed Sridevi's death to be a murder, but he was the only one who had actually done some fruitful research to back up his claims. What made Sunil's theory create headlines was the fact that he straight up accused Boney Kapoor of murdering Sridevi. Sunil had done some digging and uncovered information on Boney, which brought to light some intriguing factors about his financial condition. Sunil Singh's lawyer asserted that Boney Kapoor, Sridevi's husband, was grappling with a significant financial downturn. Notably, Boney's recent cinematic works had faced challenges at the box office. His first major success came out in 2005, a film called No Entry, which featured Salman Khan. In 2009, he experienced success once again with the release of the film Wanted, also in collaboration with Salman Khan. Having Salman Khan in a movie somehow managed decent box office success. Sadly, that movie became his last major hit. This was because the once tight bond between Boney Kapoor and Salman Khan began to shred apart after 2010. The reason behind this rift was the romantic involvement of Boney Kapoor's son with Salman Khan's sister-in-law. There were rumors that, being aware of the potential repercussions on his brother's marriage, Salman gave Boney Kapoor a stern warning. He urged him to keep his son away from his sister-in-law to prevent any harm to the bond they shared. However, Salman's brother and sister-in-law ended up getting divorced. The fallout from this event cast a shadow over the once close relationship between Salman Khan and Boney Kapoor, and soon, without the support of his biggest Bollywood star, Boney's career in the film industry went down the drain. Boney Kapoor found himself selling his properties in an attempt to make ends meet, while also struggling to maintain a luxurious status in the industry. Amidst these tensions, speculations emerged, suggesting that Boney Kapoor may have planned the tragic demise of his wife in Dubai as a desperate measure to pull himself and his family out of a severe financial crisis. But how would Sridevi's death help Boney with his financial crisis? That was what the public questioned. Luckily, what Sunil revealed next put all those questions to rest. With the information at hand, Sunil later entered a plea in the Supreme Court demanding a probe into Sridevi's death and presenting some more jaw-dropping revelations about Boney Kapoor's wicked schemes. In the legal proceedings, Sunil Singh's legal representative told the court about an insurance policy that existed in Sridevi's name in Oman. The policy was valued at 240 crore rupees, equivalent to $35 million. This revelation of the policy came as a shock to everyone and had them on the edge of their seats. According to the policy, there was a unique clause which specifically stated that the funds were claimable exclusively in the event of the actress's demise occurring in Dubai. While these claims made headlines and caught the attention of the public, the Supreme Court ultimately dismissed Sunil Singh's plea, stating that prior investigations conducted by authorities in the UAE had already looked at this angle and nothing suspicious was uncovered. The fact that no individual from Sridevi's family or her close social circles ever contradicted or refuted the existence of the substantial 240 crore rupees policy spewed more suspicion, but the issue was eventually laid to rest by the media. Amidst the whispers of doubt, retired ACP Ved Bhushan came up with his own theory. He too believed that the actress's death showed signs of a planned murder, and further claimed that officials falsely stated Sridevi's death as accidental drowning to hide the truth. However, he speculated that the notorious underworld figure Dawood Ibrahim might be involved in the murder mystery. Boney might or might not have a hand in it. Dawood Ibrahim had a strong influence over authorities in Dubai, and the hotel where Sridevi was found dead was said to be linked to him as well. Bhushan was determined to find out the truth. In a bid to confirm his theories, Bhushan reportedly stayed overnight in Jumeirah Emirates Towers, Dubai, the same hotel where Sridevi was staying at the time of her death. Bhushan was accompanied by his private investigation agency, who was helping put the pieces together. Armed with his suspicions and circumstantial links, Bhushan aimed to file an appeal in the Supreme Court to reopen the investigation into Sridevi's death, seeking a fresh examination of the circumstances surrounding the tragic event. Rishyaraj Singh, the former Director General of Prisons and Correctional Services in Kerala, brought forth an intriguing perspective on the case as well. According to him, there was more to the mystery behind Sridevi's death than what was initially perceived. In an extensive column penned for the newspaper Kerala Kamudi, Rishyaraj talked about the complexities of the case, asserting that there was foul play. Staying stern on those beliefs, Rishyaraj contended that the actress was not a victim of accidental drowning, but rather a victim of murder. Recalling a conversation he earlier had with a renowned forensic expert, the late Dr. Umadhathan, Rishyaraj shed light on certain details that cast doubt on the drowning narrative. According to Rishyaraj, Dr. Umadhathan pointed out that the possibility of someone drowning in shallow water, regardless of alcohol consumption, was severely low. Dr. Umadhathan was sure that the Dubai officials were hiding the truth behind Sridevi's death. According to his theory, Sridevi had been deliberately held underwater by another individual, submerging her head while also restraining both her legs. He was sure that the accidental drowning claim was just a cover-up. This revelation raised questions about the official account of Sridevi's demise and how it originally had been handled. While there's no response to these claims from either the Dubai Police Department or the Kapoor family, it certainly put them under scrutiny. With time, the number of people who believed these theories grew immensely, with hundreds demanding a reinvestigation into Sridevi's case. Sadly, no official response was ever received from the authorities. Another and the most convincing conspiracy that came to light was the one which claimed that Sridevi had died at least 1 or 2 days before the day Boni said he found her in the bathtub. Apparently, Sridevi had posted a picture through her Instagram account on February 22nd, 2018. This picture became her last social media post. So it was safe to assume that Sridevi was well and alive on February 22nd, 2018, unless someone else posted that picture using her phone or laptop. But there's no proof that Sridevi was alive on February 23rd, 2018, or February 24th, 2018. Even in Dubai, Sridevi was a star, and people knew who she was. If she had stepped outside her hotel on either of the 2 days in question, people would have seen her, recognized her, and would have clicked pictures or taken autographs. She was, after all, a celebrity. Even if she'd gone to a mall or even to her hotel balcony, people would have noticed, talked, and made video clips on their phones. Yet no one came forward saying they saw Sridevi at any point on February 23rd or February 24th, 2018. This meant that if, at all, Sridevi was alive on those days, she had not left her hotel at all, which seemed quite odd. Additionally, the last time Sridevi was captured on camera was on the wedding day itself. Boni Kapoor claimed that he was the last person to see Sridevi alive before she entered the bathroom around 7 p.m. on February 24th, 2018. However, many questioned the credibility of his statement and suggested a different narrative. According to them, there was a possibility that Sridevi might have succumbed to a drug overdose sometime between posting that picture on February 22nd and the time she was found dead in the bathtub on February 24th, 2018. Evidently, her lifeless body may have been in the hotel room for quite some time before the hotel staff realized her prolonged absence and lack of food orders. According to the theory, the hotel staff, after entering the room and confirming Sridevi's demise, alerted Boni and chose to wait until his arrival before planning the next course of action. Upon receiving the distressing call, Boni Kapoor would have rushed to the scene, only to discover the tragic reality awaiting him. The controversy around a potential drug overdose would raise questions about Sridevi's character and leave her name tarnished for ages. If this cause of death were officially declared, Sridevi would forever be remembered as a drug user. The fear of public backlash and the urgency to prevent the leakage of such sensitive information might have made Boni come up with a story of accidental drowning as a cover-up. The revelation of Sridevi's purported drowning left her admirers in denial, giving rise to more and more conspiracy theories coming up throughout the years. And even though the circumstances surrounding her untimely demise continue to fuel speculation and discussion among her devoted fan base, Sridevi's family maintained a poised silence, adding a layer of mystery to an already complex narrative. Amidst the whispers of fans and the echoes of friends and family, the news of her mysterious passing rippled through the corridors of the film industry. Many took to social media outlets, where thousands of tributes poured in the wake of Sridevi's departure. In remembrance of Sridevi, Boni too made a post on his social media accounts, sharing his grief with the world. He said that Sridevi was the epitome of acting prowess to the world, but to him, she was more than just an icon. She was his love, his confidant, and the mother of his 2 daughters. Losing their mother was harsh for both Kushi and Janvi. Sridevi wasn't just a star for them, but their whole universe. In the Kapoor family, Sridevi was often referred to as the glue who held the family together. And now, when she wasn't around anymore, the Kapoors found themselves in a dark place, trying to put the tragic incident behind and move on. The film community and Sridevi's close family members gathered to pay their final respects at Celebration Sports Club in Lokhandwala and later at her somber funeral. The air hung heavy with grief as thousands of devoted fans poured into the streets, driven by an overwhelming desire to honor their beloved icon. In the middle of this mourning, the sheer magnitude of emotions overflowed, leading the police to employ stern measures to keep the crowd in control during the procession from Celebration Sports Complex to the crematorium. The crowd, a formidable force numbering over 7,000, stood as a testament to the profound impact Sridevi had on the hearts of her fans. Sridevi's funeral was one of a kind and ranked as the 4th largest gathering of mourners in India. In a rare and remarkable gesture, Sridevi was posthumously given full state honors, a privilege typically reserved for the highest levels of political leadership. This unprecedented recognition elevated her status among everyone who was a part of the Indian entertainment industry. While Boni and his family were still recovering from the loss, the excessive scrutiny he had to face due to multiple conspiracy theories made him break his silence. Being accused by the public of murdering his own wife, Boni decided to speak up and tell his side of the story. While Sridevi's fans suspected Boni of foul play in her death, the investigation that took place in Dubai right after the murder found him innocent. As Boni was the one who found Sridevi unconscious in the bathtub, he was taken to the Bur Dubai police station for an initial round of questioning.
Exclusive details from Dubai reports suggesting that Sridevi's husband Boni Kapoor was questioned by the Dubai police for around 16 to 18 hours, and after that questioning by Dubai police, Boni Kapoor has been cleared. The mortal remains of Sridevi are expected to reach Mumbai today.
After he gave a statement, he was let go and permitted to return to his hotel room.
Sridevi was visiting Dubai to attend a family wedding with her husband Boni Kapoor and her younger daughter. But it was not long after the tragedy followed the celebration. The 54-year-old actor was found dead in her hotel room on Saturday, February 24th, around midnight.
Given the high-profile nature of the case, the news of Sridevi's passing quickly made its way to the public. Adnan Siddiqui, Sridevi's Pakistani co-actor from her final film, Mom, was one of the first few people to arrive at the Jumeirah Emirates Tower upon learning about the actress's demise on Saturday night. Adnan revealed that on the night of Sridevi's death, he received an unexpected call from a journalist around 11 p.m. That was how he got the shocking news of Sridevi's demise. Without hesitation, he tried calling Boni Kapoor over the phone, feeling an urgent need to be by his side. Rushing to the hotel, he entered a scene of investigation, with the room surrounded by Dubai police officials. At the time, only Boni and Dubai officials were present at the scene, and Adnan was not initially allowed to go in. However, he wasn't going to leave without seeing Boni. He walked into the hotel lobby and waited for about an hour. As the atmosphere began to settle, Boni phoned Adnan and called him upstairs. In those private moments, Adnan witnessed Boni's raw emotions. Boni was crying uncontrollably, with tears smeared across his face. Adnan tried to console him, but nothing worked. The suddenness of the tragic incident had Boni in distress. He couldn't even get a chance to say goodbye to his beloved wife.
Kid, if you don't have support at home, by at home I mean your wife, with that support you can fight anything. I was blessed.
Boni had to let it all out. Staying by Boni's side until the early hours of the morning, Adnan offered solace and support. As the night wore on, he gently encouraged Boney to rest, eventually bidding farewell before the sun came up that same morning. As the news of Sridevi's death spread like wildfire, her brother-in-law, Sanjay Kapoor, stepped forward to confirm the heartbreaking reality. Initially, he announced to the Indian media that the cause of her demise was a sudden cardiac arrest. However, the abruptness of her passing left fans and fellow Bollywood celebrities grappled by grief. On social media, an outpour of posts expressing sorrow and shock ensued, with many questioning the credibility of the news. They wondered whether the tragic news was true, or whether it was just another instance of a death hoax. The unexpected nature of her death, especially for a seemingly healthy 54-year-old with no prior history of heart issues, fueled speculation and disbelief. Amidst the confusion, Sanjay Kapoor clarified that Sridevi's passing was indeed a result of a massive cardiac arrest, further affirming that she had no history of heart issues. Despite this clarification, various theories began to circulate on social media, with some linking her untimely death to alleged multiple cosmetic surgeries that she had undergone in the past years. The mystery surrounding her death gave rise to a wave of discussions and speculations in the public eye. By the morning of Sunday, on February 25, 2018, Dubai police officials had already gathered at the crime scene. The investigation began around 2:30 in the afternoon. The case was transferred to the hands of Dubai Public Prosecution, adding an air of official scrutiny to the unfolding tragedy. On February 27, 2018, after days of intense police investigation, Sridevi's cause of death was determined as accidental drowning, and the case was closed. On the night of that same day, Sridevi's lifeless body made a poignant journey back to her homeland, Mumbai, India. Her husband, Boney, accompanied by Sridevi's stepson, Arjun Kapoor, arranged for a private jet for the journey, graciously provided by Anil Ambani, who was one of India's leading business leaders. The wings of the aircraft carried not just her body, but the weight of a nation's grief and love. The airport gates welcomed her arrival around 9:30 p.m., while many stood behind the barricades, coming to terms with the reality of this tragedy. In an interview with New Indian, which took place sometime in February 2023, Boney Kapoor opened up about Sridevi's death for the first time since her death in 2018. He revealed that Sridevi had been on a crash diet and added that she often used to starve herself in order to look good. Sridevi wanted to make sure that she was in shape to play roles of her choice on screen. Boney also shared some sensitive information, stating that Sridevi had blacked out on multiple occasions previously.
Indian producer Boney Kapoor has finally opened up about the tragic death of his wife and late actor Sridevi. Kapoor revealed that the actor was on a diet at the time of her death. He added that she used to starve to make herself look good on screen. According to Kapoor, she often experienced blackouts because of the no-salt diets that she would partake in. Kapoor mentions that Sridevi was swearing by one of these routines at the time of her death, even though she had been advised against it by her doctors. The actor believed that salt intake would make her face puffy. The filmmaker also recalled an interaction with Indian actor Nagarjuna, in which he was told that Sridevi had broken her teeth following a fall in a bathroom.
Boney first got to know about these episodes of blackout after he married Sridevi. When a medical checkup was done on Sridevi, the report diagnosed her with issues related to low blood pressure. Later in the interview, Boney recalled how he was questioned for 48 hours straight once the investigation began. He revealed that Sridevi's death was not a natural one, but an accidental one. He chose not to speak about his wife's death because it was too painful for him, and he already told the authorities everything he knew at the time of the investigation. Boney stated that the investigators working on the case had a lot of pressure from the Indian media, and they couldn't afford to miss out on anything. In the end, they were sure that Sridevi's death involved no foul play. He added that he had to take a number of tests, which included a polygraph test as well. He passed them all, and eventually, the case report confidently stated that Sridevi's death was accidental. While some trusted Boney and his version of the story, many thought that it was just another hoax. Even if years would go by, it was evident that Sridevi's unexpected passing would still be talked about and remembered for a long time. On the auspicious occasion of Sridevi's birthday on August 13, 2019, Madame Tussauds Singapore unveiled a plan to immortalize the legendary actress with a dedicated wax statue, promising a perfectly crafted figure that would replicate Sridevi's iconic appearance in the timeless Hawa Hawaii song from the film Mr. India. The ceremony, a fusion of art and emotion, witnessed the presence of Sridevi's husband, Boney Kapoor, alongside her daughters, Janvi Kapoor and Kushi Kapoor. Simultaneously, the literary world paid homage to Sridevi in 2019 as author Satyarth Nayak penned a biography titled Sridevi, the Eternal Screen Goddess. This literary tribute took a deep dive into the layers of Sridevi's life. The book was very well received by the audiences, as it left a lasting impression of Sridevi's unbeatable legacy on her millions of fans. In the landscape of the Indian film industry, Sridevi stood as a beacon of love and admiration. Her career spanned over 50 years in a wide range of genres, which left many young artists inspired to walk in her footsteps. Despite her untimely departure, Sridevi's essence lived on in the form of her daughter, Janvi Kapoor, a living reflection of her mother's grace and charm. Following the same path Sridevi had once walked on, Janvi embraced acting as her chosen craft, embodying the spirit of the cinematic icon. Kushi Kapoor, Sridevi's youngest daughter, is geared up to join the world of Indian cinema and continue the family's cinematic legacy. In the early days of 2023, on Sridevi's death anniversary, Janvi penned a heartfelt note expressing the unique bond she shared with her mother. It read, "I still look for you everywhere, Mama. Still do everything I do, hoping I'm making you proud. Everywhere I go, and everything I do, it starts and ends with you."
I think for me, there were many things. So I feel like when we had her, my life was completely different. And when we lost her, I was bang in the middle of the shoot of my first film. And then the film came out, and then my life changed. So it was almost as if the life I was leading before was this idealistic, fictional life that I feel like I never really had it because what I'm living right now is so different. And so the way I think I coped with that loss was that I just dove into work.
When you close your eyes and you think of your mom, what do you remember?
I just remember her calling me Laddu because she used to call me Laddu.
That's so sweet.
And it's so weird, ma'am, because every time I'm on set and I'm in front of the camera in my most vulnerable moments, I feel like in front of the camera is the closest that I'll ever be to her. And that's why it's such a sacred space for me.
Whether Sridevi's death was an accident or a murder, whether her husband was involved or not, one thing was certain: the complete truth was still being kept hidden. What do you think really happened to Sridevi in her Dubai hotel room? Was Sridevi's death really an accident, or was there some foul play? If there was, do you think Boney and the family had a hand in it?